Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Q&A for the 2024 San Francisco Green Film Festival. Another great program of shorts, a wonderful program of shorts here, and we are lucky to have many of the filmmakers with us. Hey, filmmakers.
Hello,
Just randomly, where are you guys calling from? Shout it out loud.
the Netherlands.
Montreal.
Los
Wow.
Angeles.
Yeah, LA, we're boring.
Wow, Montreal, Netherlands. Fantastic. LA's always representing. Well, good to have you here. So this program is basically narrative shorts, wonderful short stories, and we got an eclectic group of films here. I don't know where to begin. There are some very similar themes, but why don't we just figure out how you guys came up with the ideas for these films? Joey, I'll start with you. Bat Boy, what was the inspiration for this film?
Yeah, so I'm the science advisor for Bat Boy. Aaron is the creative genius behind the film.
Well, then
But
let's ask the creative genius too, but go ahead and answer since I'm on you.
oh, you do want me to answer? Okay, sounds great. Yeah, so I'm a bat biologist, and in my line of work, I see and hear a lot of stories about bats and people's relationships with bats, and I've been wanting to tell a story to sort of demystify and bring the vital roles of bats into the forefront of the conversation for quite some time. And then just so happened that I met this camera whiz creative genius guy, Aaron, who is also here. And yeah, I think, he has the gift of being able to tell kind of a complicated story, but I think in such a really beautiful way. So yeah, I'm just super stoked about that.
Yes. Go ahead, Aaron, and continue. Inspiration
Yeah.
for the film. And how did you meet Joey?
We were both grad students at UCLA.
Ah.
So Joey was South Campus with all the scientists, and I was North Campus with all the art people. And we grabbed coffee one day, and Joe was telling me about bats, and he's super great at communicating kind of complicated scientific topics and to make it accessible to lay people. And I just thought this was an interesting topic. I've always liked bats, but uh, excuse me, didn't realize how important they were to our ecosystems and to humans. And so we had this initial conversation, and then we spent probably about a month talking about how to make it into a film. And during that month, I met the wonderful actor who is the star of Bat Boy, Dominic Brown, who's an actor on the spectrum, and the story started to kind of gel around his character.
Wow. Like I said earlier, I could before we begin, I could have separate Q&As with each of you and your films, but we don't have time for that. Chris, inspiration for your silly, fun film?
So in my film, the main character gets this tree survey, and I actually got one of these in real life. And all of the questions in the film are taken from the actual tree survey. And it asks these questions like, have you ever climbed a tree? What do you love most about trees? Just kind of like general, sometimes almost like poetic type questions. And I thought, wouldn't it be funny if someone, and it was also very personalized. There was like a calendar with my name on it, bookmarks, all this stuff. And so I was thinking, what if someone got this and really thought it was only for them and they were a tree obsessive?
Well, did the inspiration hit you right then when you got this mailer, this package?
Pretty quickly, because my first thought was, oh my God, they're like, I was so touched that they had, I don't know why they were reaching out, but and then I realized very quickly it was a fundraising thing, but thought, wouldn't it be funny if someone didn't figure that out?
You used there's a word in there. Excuse my French, but they're asking if the main character is a tree fucker. And
Yes.
is that called a dendro? Is that what the word you used?
Dendrophile, yes.
A dendrophile. There's a word for that.
It's a real word, yeah.
Oh my goodness. So are you a dendrophile? I'm just kidding. Do you
I'm
love
not going to answer that question, but I'll let you guys decide for yourself.
Well, I have to tell you, with the opening line of your film, your movie was in, unless you screwed up somehow. Trees, their life, and without them, we're dead.
Yeah.
So we love that. Well, thank you. Lynn, Inspiration
Yeah.
for your film. Are you a full-time animator?
Yes, I've been animating for years. I'm 82, going on 82.
Woo-hoo.
I know.
It's still
Well,
animated.
yep, yeah. I have an animation stand in my house. I animate under the camera. I animate directly. So the camera's above and the artwork's below, and I move it and I record it as I go along. This story is the film is What Rhymes with Toxic, and the story is about a turtle who confronts a city councilor and tries to explain that where she dwells, where she's living
The audiences have probably watched it if they're watching this Q&A. They've seen the movie. So what inspired you to
oh,
make this film and come up with this turtle talking to the counselor?
well, it's a couple of things. When you get to this age, a number of people, die, and they die of cancer, and it was really very painful, those experiences. And I started to also be getting articles about indigenous companies, indigenous people, black communities, and poor communities that were not being able to receive decent water. And it started to the articles came again and again and again. I usually do films about joyful things, but it really started to get to me. This is a basic thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't ignore it. And I started to think of telling a story from the turtle's point of view, a creature who couldn't speak for themselves. And I think that people in these communities can't speak for themselves because nobody listens. So it was a way to kind of speak.
Yeah. Yeah, and the turtles taking action, and in each of these films, the protagonist is basically taking action, like your film, Catalin. I forget her name, but in my time, the daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the inspiration for your film? I love this film.
Thank you.
Very, very,
Um,
very moving, very slow, but
mhm.
it really touches you. It touches me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually it's fiction, but it's kind of personal as well. Like it was actually based on the bond I have with my dad, sort of, because like I feel like we have this generational conflict, and I totally understand that when you're getting older, you're getting more of a realist instead of a idealist, maybe. So
Yeah.
I understand the way he's seeing things, and that he maybe when he was younger, he was more idealistic, but now like when you're turning older and you see that nothing is actually really changing, that you choose for yourself or for your family, so he actually chooses for her as well. So it's not all selfish, or so I try to also make like a story that you won't really like have to choose a point of view from like the daughter or the father, that they both have a say in it, um, and also the point of view of the tree, of
Yeah,
course.
you really captured both POVs very well. And I don't know, maybe it's how old I am, but I could relate to both of them and equally was rooting for both of them. I
Yeah,
get I get frustrated with the daughter, but then I'd be super angry with the man for being, rational and realistic. It's like it was really well done. It was really I was really torn inside, rooting to root
thank
for.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was what I was hoping for, because that was also the way I felt. Like I know my own ideas, but I also understand his ideas. So how can we put this together? And like, yeah, it's also
Well,
hard to like
I
go
could
for.
almost, I'm sorry to cut you off, but when I get inspired
No,
for
no.
questions, one of the things that came up when we programmed this thing, I mean, there's almost like a theme of listening, right? That word just came up, but we're not, are we really listening to each other, to nature, to the things going on around us? Like in Bat Boy, he's listening to the bats, but the other people aren't listening. The father and daughter aren't listening. The lake and the water, we're not listening to nature, right? It's kind of like we're not listening to the planet telling us it needs help.
Yeah. And
You know, so what was the themes that you hoped to convey? You know, what was the message you hoped to convey, Catalan?
well, I really like to have like people finding their own message in the film. Like I don't
Mm.
want to push people to say like this is the right way or this like of course it's sad that the tree gets cut down. So I wanted to make them feel like this is actually it's actually something we have to choose to do or um, think again if you actually want to do that.
Mhm.
Um, but there's also like you also kind of understand why he did that. So yeah, I hope people will get their own message from the film or think about it. And the thing is, you don't have a real answer to all these questions, and that's what
Yeah,
I try to convey.
that's
Yeah.
true. Aaron, what was your the result you hope to achieve? Is there a message or something you wanted to convey, and did you accomplish that?
Yeah, I think the obvious message was to get people to care about bats. And one of the really exciting things about working on this project is at every stage, the script writing process through production, through post-production, I feel like everyone that touched this project in one way or another changed their opinion about bats.
I did watching it.
Amazing.
I wasn't ever really scared of him, but I was more negative towards him than I am now after your movie.
I love that. Love to hear
Yeah,
that.
it worked.
But we've had a few people who've seen the movie put up bat boxes in their yards following the movie, and that's always exciting to hear. But even just people saying like I hated bats and now I see them differently. So that's very gratifying. I think on a broader level, though, one of the things we were trying to do is make people realize that nature is a part of us, and it's not something that's out in a national park. It can be in Los Angeles or in New York City or in San Francisco. It's and part of living with nature in the modern world today is figuring out how to coexist with animals that we might not otherwise be comfortable coexisting with, or we might think are other or should be separate from our lives.
Hmm. And how about Joe? You want to add to that at all?
Yeah, definitely. I think, there's this sort of conundrum with, bats in that, you fear what you don't know. And you also, don't know what you can't see, right? And bats are a creature that, are primarily nocturnal. We don't see them in our daily lives. And so, without a way of sort of bringing bats to people, that sort of fear perpetuates, I think. And so I think, as film is a visual medium, and it's a really great tool to be able to bring bats, so to speak, into people's homes and to, the Chinese theater in downtown Los Angeles where no one thought that they were going to ever see a an image of a bat on a giant screen. And so, yeah, I think it's a really special way to be able to, touch people and like, I can write as many scientific papers as I want and the same,
Yeah,
like whatever, 28 people are gonna read them and they're
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. This is effective in a different way, or with a different audience, right? Yeah,
Conservation is a field of multiple strategies all at the same time, I think. And so I think this is certainly one of them, and I think it's a very effective one.
yeah, indeed. Chris, did you accomplish what you set out to do?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, besides
Um,
besides complete a movie, which is a challenge and an accomplishment in itself.
yeah, I mean that was kind of the main thing. Yeah, I would say, the film is probably about don't let your interests or preoccupations get in the way of your actual relationships. And it's hopefully people will appreciate trees after watching it.
I already did, but I do even more now. And like I said, as soon as you had that opening line, I was in. Trees are really important. Now, also, each of these films, the acting is wonderful. Whether it be, kind of silly comedy like yours, Chris, or more serious like Catalan's, or even animation. Um, but the Lynn, yours is very slow, the drawn out voices. Who did the voice of the turtle?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very effective, very,
Thank you.
very impressionable. Why did you, who did the voice of the counselor?
My husband.
What? Wow.
He also did the music for the film. Yeah,
Wow.
Xander Ari.
Well,
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that. Have you two worked together before, and what was the collaboration like?
Yeah, we've done a number of films together.
Okay.
He's done the music for a number of films of mine.
And did you actually act? Was that you two acting, or was that kind of your drawl and your cadence and your speed of talking?
Oh no, I don't know if I interviewed a lot of people there are actors, terrific actors around, and they just didn't click with the
Ah.
character. You play it against the picture that you have, your test images, and it just didn't gel. And then I kept explaining what I wanted, and then I said, "Oh, I think I've done the voice."
While
So
you're
that's how
explaining, you realized you had the voice. Yeah.
yeah, and in Montreal or in Canada, we do versioning. We have French and English, and the French version, "C'est qui rime avec toxique," was voiced by Alanis Obamsawin, who is a very well-known Indigenous filmmaker who's been at the Film Board for years. She's in her 90s now and still making films. I think she calls me a spring chicken. So, but she did a marvelous job.
Ah.
She did a fantastic job.
And I just remembered. Sorry to cut you off. I love a line, and I agree with this. This is the one that resonated with me. Why do humans get to decide? The turtle says, "Why do humans get to decide?"
Yeah,
Yeah, that
Yeah.
stuck with me.
yeah. Well, she's contemplating on the way to speaking to the city councilor. She's kind of trying to figure out what she's going to say. What is the important thing? And that's the line: "Who lives, who dies? Why do humans get to decide?"
Yeah.
Or who
I'm
lives, who
just,
dies?
I
Why do humans get to decide?
yeah, totally
Just
agree.
did-
Yeah. I'm having millions of questions. I want to talk to you guys for hours, and I could have individual Q&As with you. But back to the acting, the Bat Boy, the actors are fantastic. The father daughter are fantastic. Catalin, talk about your lead protagonist. She's. I mean, they were just so believable. Talk about the actors.
Yeah, actually, she's like a real upcoming talent in the Netherlands right now. So there's now this Dutch film festival going on, and she's nominated for like Best Actress now. So I was really happy to work with her. And the father is also amazing. It was actually hard to find the father because I really need the right kind of man. But now, yeah, when I got them together, they actually pulled it really off, and they were at some point they really felt like father and daughter, and they had this real bond after a couple of days of shooting, and they also got like the same ideas that the characters had. Like, I find it really interesting if they really feel something for the how the characters look at things. So yeah, it was amazing to work with them.
So they really got along both on set and in make believe.
Yeah.
It really works. Their chemistry on screen is I totally got lost in their relationship.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, well done. And then also That Boy, I mean, it seemed real. Talk about acting the actors or directing the actors, any of that.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we knew about making a film about bats and to get people to care about them is
Yeah, your bats were really believable. I mean, they
They're
bat
real.
was a real bat. Yeah, all the
yeah,
bats
I know.
pretty much are real. Some of the wide shots, the bat is a doll, but
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. But
yeah.
yeah, how did you find your cast, and what was like working with them?
Yeah, so we knew we just had to get a really exceptional cast and ideally some people that people have heard of before. So Dominic Brown, the star, was in Atypical and he was fantastic to work with. But Candy Alexander, who plays the scientist, she was in Treme and CSI Miami and a bunch of other amazing shows. And Yvette Freeman, who plays the grandmother, she was in ER, she nurse in ER.
I thought I recognized her.
Yeah, and also Orange is the New Black. And it was just a dream cast. Everyone was so lovely to work with, and so it was so fun as a director to give someone a note and they would just take it and run with it and give you a bunch of different, all fabulous options to work with, and super fun. And everyone, they were not necessarily fans of bats going into it, but especially Yvette, she was actively disliked bats, but she when she says the line, "It's cute, I guess," I think she really meant it because slowly being converted to a bat person.
Right on. Chris, and your actors too. Your lead was definitely committed to the
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, that's Dave Child. He is a great actor, great comedian. I've known him for a long time now. We met when he acted in a play that I wrote a few years ago. And yeah, and Kaylee McGee, I've also known for a very long time. And she is a very good filmmaker herself. And yeah, is more of a filmmaker than an actor, but they were both really great and very committed. And yeah, I was super lucky.
What was one of the joys of making this short? What was one of the most satisfying things about your short, Chris?
That's a good question.
Just completing it. You had an aha moment.
I think just like we shot all those like the scenes where he's kind of looking at trees and just walking around and looking at various trees. We just kind of walked around the park near my house and with the actor and the camera, and you know, we just kind of like made stuff up as we went along, and that was just like a fun kind of, oh, this is kind of like why I like doing this stuff. Just being with people and having fun.
Yeah, right on. Lynn, what was one of the
Yeah.
pleasures of making your short animated film? What was a joy?
Well,
What was
the ending, getting the ending right was a real challenge. Just to have that atmosphere, and there were a lot of tests that I did, and I think it worked finally. The ending has a different texture and feel than the cartoon side.
Say what happened to me.
Yeah, my husband's the same. Say what happened. Well, they've seen the film,
they've seen the
but
film?
they've seen the film, so there's a whole, it goes into a different feel because I want the audience to see that while this cartoon is going on, these crazy sort of surrealistic creatures are having an argument. There are real life creatures that are threatened, and so I went into a more realistic range, and it was difficult to come to an artistic aesthetic result, and I'm glad of it. We worked hard on it.
Nice. Yeah, as an artist, you kind of like, you just, when you get it, you kind of just know. You don't know why you got it or how you got it. Sometimes you know when you're there.
Most of the time.
Yeah. Right, right. Bat Boy team. What was a joy for you guys? The result of people now appreciating bats more, or did you have some other kind of satisfaction?
I think one of my favorite parts of working on this project was just the team that was on it, starting with Joey. It's just such a joy to work with him and get a window into the work he does. And but then the entire team, the actors, the cast, the crew was just fantastic and really helped make this the film that it is.
Right on. Joey,
Yeah.
why don't you go next since
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm a vegan, so excuse the metaphor, but like it was really interesting to see how the sausage gets made, you know? And this was just so I'm in the last few months of my dissertation process, and I've been all over the world for my research, and I've done a lot of really cool things, worked with a lot of really cool scientists, and I think that this is truly like the most astounding thing that I've done in my PhD program. It was just such a completely different experience to be like with all these people that were totally passionate about this project, and to get to see like the technical sort of back end of everything that I've seen like on screen in films and TV that I like. So It was just cool. I was just excited to like do any task on set
Yeah.
that I possibly could. I got to do the little thing. Oh,
You got to do the thing.
felt good. I can
The
tell you.
thing's fun. It's very important.
I don't know what it's called, but it was great.
The slate. He did the slate.
Right on. Cool. Catalin, a highlight, a joy of making this short for you?
A lot of highlights, but one is that I actually found a house and a tree that fitted perfectly in the script. It was very hard to find something that looks exactly like that. And at some point I thought like I'm never going to find it. And I was driving around because I actually made it in the east of the Netherlands where I'm from. And it's like a bit of a countryside. And then I found it, and the people who live there, they just said like, go ahead. And they were completely fine with it. So that was like, it's like a wonder or something that happened. And then
Yeah. One of my notes was, all right, two more questions. I was gonna do one more question, two more questions. Was locations. I had you guys, Bat Boy, and all of you. The locations are great, except for the animated film. You made your location, but well done on getting the locations. And Catalan, you just told us how did you discover this kind of remote home out in the
yeah, well, I know the area quite well, so I was also like looking on Google Maps a lot, like going through like houses and streets, like where's the tree situated, and is it like something that I need? And then I went to like 8 houses, I think, and met the people, and then looked inside, and always there was something not right, or the interior was not right, or the tree was not on the right side, or something like that, and I didn't want to like recreate everything because it's quite low budget.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point I just like by accident I discovered this one like after I saw all the other houses, and then it just hit. So sometimes something like that just happens.
Like the movie making gods and goddesses just
Yeah,
found it
it's
for you.
crazy. Yeah.
Chris, what about your location? How'd you find all those trees to play their parts?
That's Elysian Park in
Ah.
Los Angeles, right near Dodger Stadium. I live
Oh.
pretty close to there. And then the interiors are just my apartment. Different rooms kind of made it look bigger than it was.
And Bat Boy, the locations are right in the heart and center of LA. As far as I know, I don't know LA completely well, but I mean, you found that overpass underneath the railroad tracks or something like that. It was perfect, ideal.
That was hard. I looked at pretty much every underpass in LA, and that was one of the few that felt safe to work in, but still had some character to it.
Right.
But we shot most of it in LA. We shot the bats coming out of the mine. We shot in Arizona, and we intercut that with a mine that we built in the mountains, just outside of in Brentwood, basically.
Oh wow.
We cheated a little bit there, but that was so we drove to Arizona and shot what they were their POV basically, and then anytime we're looking at the actors, that's in LA, and it cut together very nicely. I thought so.
It did, yeah, yeah. Well, we have time for one more. Any parting words you guys want to add? I can lead you with what's next, or you can say whatever you like. And Aaron, since my camera's on you, Aaron, what's next for you? What do you want to say?
Well, I'm actually working with Joey on a little documentary about his research studying the genomics of the Southern California quail populations in and around LA. So that should be coming out by the end of the year. And we're
Documentary?
a doc, yeah.
All right. Consider us again, please.
Yeah, for sure.
And Joey, how about you? I guess I know what's next for you. What's next for you? Let me have you answer in your own words.
Yeah, so I'm finishing up my dissertation. I'm trying to wrap up some of these projects, including my work with bats. And then, surprise, I'm gonna be a scientist again in January, working on bats. Pretty one note. But this time I'm studying urban bats and how we as people with noise and light pollution and stuff impact them and their daily movements.
Could have a whole interview just with you and your studies.
Hit me up.
Chris, what's next for you? Any parting words?
I'm pretty busy with my day job right now, which is a podcast producer at Vox Media. I work on a documentary podcast called Crucible Moments, which is about tech companies and their kind of origin stories and behind the scenes drama. So you can check that out where you get podcasts, Crucible Moments. The episode about Reddit just dropped today. So yeah,
Cool.
check it out.
Cool. And Lynn, got another animation coming soon? You and your husband collaborating again?
Well, animation takes a long time. It's no soon. Soon is like 2 years or something. That's good, you know. Yeah, I'm working on something now, but I can't really share it yet. But my focus now is more on thinking in the past and my family members, which I haven't thought about through film. I've thought about them a lot, but I haven't thought it through in a film, and I'm working on that.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
I look forward to seeing all these films, I want to say.
Yeah, you got to watch them. And I got to say, I love your office too, with that background there. I love looking at your workspace.
All the stuff. Well,
All
my
stuff.
animation stand is there. I have had a stand since 1969, an animation stand that was built by a tinkerer, and thank God I have it.
Far out. And Catalin,
Yeah.
how about you? What's next? Any parting words?
Well, I'm writing again, but still like in the beginning phase. So, but hopefully now I got this film, I can show it around and get some more funding next time because it was really low budget. And so I'm really looking forward to making something new again. But what you said, Lynn, it takes a long time, but I'm ready for that. And also looking forward to seeing all your films. It sounds really interesting. So, and thank you.
Well, definitely keep making films. We loved all your films here. It was a pleasure meeting all of you, and we're so happy not only that you submitted your films to us, but you completed them because we know how hard it is to make movies. Well, that's all the time we have, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. Check out more great films at sfindie.com and the San Francisco Green Film Festival. Hey, filmmakers, best of luck to you. I hope to meet you in person someday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Ciao.